Alright, so that launch you just saw there was the launch of our new Gleno-Space carrier. This carrier, it's military grade, so we're going to be able to defend the space around our launch center. I have come to learn that in this world, in this universe, the people who make the most money are the people with the biggest guns. So we're bringing up some big guns. This here is the carrier. This is actually the prototype. I'm going to put up a different carrier. Unfortunately, I didn't record the launch of that. But basically, this is how it works. So, the fighters can dock in this sort of hangar thing. And the missiles are on the other side. If you've ever seen Macy Dean's videos, he has a similar carrier design, except his is more of a traditional hangar. This one's more open, so it can be more compact and have less part count, because my computer can just not handle large ships. So this ship is 111 parts, and it should work pretty well. This is, of course, the prototype, so I'm not planning on it being perfect, but hopefully it will do alright. It has this 3-person capsule up front, and each fighter has room for 1 person. So that's the carrier. It's powered by 8 nuclear engines, and also has a substantial amount of fuel, so we should be able to take it to another planet, maybe. Possibly Duna or Jewel. I haven't really decided yet. So now, we're going to put the fighters up there. Really, these fighters, they're quite small. I've tried to simulate Macy Dean's fighters. The issue is with his designs are so elegant that it's hard not to make similar crafts. So I've tried to stray a little bit. I tried making larger fighters, but they just don't work with the carrier so well. You need a really large carrier for some of the bigger fighters, so I've just stuck with this small design. The ion engines are actually really good. I don't normally use them, but they've worked very, very well. On the front here, you can see the torpedoes. They're liquid fuel torpedoes, and they have these little engines, and they're completely stackable, equipped with docking ports. These little fighters have also got substantial amounts of RCS, so they're able to dock with carriers. And they have a port on the front and on the back. They're powered by 2 large solar panels, which are pretty much essential if you're going to be using ion engines. But for the most part, they can just use RCS to drive themselves. Because they're so light, the ion engines actually work really, really well. And they have a very long range. Also, its SAS units really helps with docking. And because they're so small and so light, the SAS is actually really, really strong. So here I'm just going to try and dock. So as you can see, the new version doesn't have the cover over the hangar, and the reason being is because a fighter like this can't actually get in with a full stack of torpedoes. So unfortunately, it'll be a little less protected if we ever get into a fight, but hopefully these fighters will be able to strike first, and the enemy won't even have a chance to shoot at the carrier. And thanks to these fighters' long range, the carrier will be able to stand way back, and it'll be unlikely that the enemies will be even get in range. So that's what I'm counting on. Docking this is actually really, really easy. As you can see, I'm doing this without any guidance. And I've built the hangar so it can hold 2 fighters with the solar panels inward facing. But I found out actually you need the hatch open out of the hangar, otherwise the Kerbals can't get out. They can get in oddly, but they can't get out for whatever reason. So that's us in. And it's looking pretty good. So after getting the second one in, I've actually rearranged the fighters here because I needed some better way of getting the torpedoes on, and I parked it in a weird way. But that's us. We're together. We are on board. This is our carrier in orbit. So now we need to get a station in orbit. Our last station didn't actually have that much fuel, and this one will have lots and lots of fuel. This is over 100 tons. Thanks to the new 3.75 meter parts, we're able to launch much larger craft. As you can see, that's one big fuel tank and two huge things of RCS, and also a lot of xenon fuel there as well. So if we ever run out, we can always count on this being in orbit. It hasn't got any defenses of its own, but I'm planning on putting fighters up there to defend. To me ditching my stages. These big engines are almost overpowered, they're so powerful, but you know, I'm not complaining. If I'm able to get these massive parts into orbit, that's always good. So now I've got into orbit and I've got plenty of fuel left, so it's sort of a shame to dump this, but I haven't put any engines on this space station, so I'm not sure what to do with all this debris, because the debris, as you can see, the massive launch stage, I'm not going to be able to get rid of that. So I've decided on the crewing mission, I'm actually going to launch this. This is just a small service module, and it's just a very simple rocket, just a big engine on the bottom, and I've actually put the ARM, the ARM unit on the front, and I'm not grabbing asteroids, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to grab that debris. But to make sure I'm not putting more debris in orbit, I'm going to ditch this before it reaches high altitude, sufficient enough to keep it in orbit. So this is actually going to decay. This is me rendezvousing with the space station, and the debris is just a few kilometers away. This hasn't actually got any docking ports, so I'm going to have to get the crew to EVA over there. They'll be fine. I'm pretty sure Bill and Bob are up to the job. Jeb, of course, is not going to be staying up here. He's going to be selected for a more official role. This is sort of his first flight, if you will. Probably not his first flight, but his first flight in this naval service. So I'm going to get Bob to go and inspect the station. Bob is, of course, going to be commanding this station. He's a veteran. And I'm a bit of an idiot. I just flew right around the station, but that doesn't really matter. As of now, the Kerbals don't run out of EVA fuel. And by that I mean they have infinite supply of EVA fuel in the cabins. They actually have fuel packs on the back which do run out, but they can just go back to the capsule and refuel. So it's fine. I can burn the stuff. Now I'm going to get Bill over, learning from Bob's mistakes. And I've accidentally caused this station to start rotating, so I've turned the AS. That's fine. So now I'm going to guide the service module over. As you can see, the debris is just floating over there. It's a bit, I don't know, dangerous to be this close to the station. So hopefully Jeb can deal with it. This is much heavier, actually. The debris is much heavier than the craft itself. So I'm actually going to try and use the main engine that's already on there to deorbit it. So here I am. I'm going to grab this with the ARM, the ARM. Getting this into position is actually fairly easy. This service module I'm quite proud of, actually. It's really basic design. You might actually be able to see there on top where the ARM is. There's also an escape system in case of emergencies. But in this mission we didn't actually have to use them. Getting this arm to actually grab on is, you have to give the spacecraft a little push. So I just give a little dab of the engine throttle. There we are. And okay, there. So that's joined on now. So now here comes the fun part. We've got to deorbit this thing and get the crew capsule close enough to the space center so we can recover it. But it's a bit unstable. As you can see here, so I've got this engine running. So I'm just going to leave that running. Of course, because our cabin's facing the opposite direction, it's not going to work. So we're going to have to actually point our prograde relative to the big engine. Because I can see the little engine just makes it spin. So I'm going to turn this around like that. This thing is really, really clumsy here. So I'm just roughly burning. We've got plenty of fuel to burn. I'm just going to keep this going this way. It is a bit hard to keep this straight because the SAS is slanted compared to the engine, but this should work. 30 kilometers. I want to get a bit lower than that. Yeah, you can see this spacecraft is just wobbling around like some sort of crazy. I'm not even sure. Here we are. There we go. We're able to get it to deorbit. Alright, that should be good. So I'm going to deactivate the engine now, because that's just a hazard. Now we can bring it in. So as soon as we hit atmosphere, which is about there now. So now we have to detach this. So I've got a little decoupler here. So I can just ditch that. And now I'm going to throttle away so when we start to slow down, it's not going to get in our way. Just get out of there, like that. And now I'm going to ditch the service module. There we are. Now we are on our way back.